How does a game on the NES have vector graphics? We've been talking about the inner workings of the Nintendo Entertainment System and particularly its shortcomings in the graphics department. Although the system comes with a pretty powerful CPU for its time, its graphics are somewhat limited and oddly done. A lot of great games were able to stretch these limits. One such game would be 1991's Elite. This was originally a 1984 home computer title with somewhat dazzling 3D graphics, but would be ported to the NES, notably in Europe only. It is the only NES game to feature full 3D polygon graphics, and for good reason. We have talked about expansion chips in NES cartridges before. They're usually used to keep more banks of tiles as the default amount is pretty limited. Because of the multitude of different angles every polygon could be viewed at, there would be far too many combinations of tiles in Elite to all be stored on the cartridge. This is why Elite had its own RAM to make new tiles on the fly, rather than switching between predefined banks. However, this process is pretty intensive, which would be why the game was never released in the US market. With the US NES, only about 60 new tiles could be drawn on each frame, but the European NES could draw more due to a lower frame rate, which is why the graphics here are noticeably choppy. The fact that a home computer game of this magnitude was able to be ported to the NES is pretty astounding, and the game itself was an open-ended space trading game that was considered revolutionary. It would end up being ported to essentially every home computer on the market at the time and would spawn multiple sequels, including Elite Dangerous.